What is Tenting Tonight all about? For anyone who's new to that concept, what is
Tenting Tonight? Well, we tried to think of a name for our trivia, Brian, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't think of a name for the trivia. It's no surprise that a lot of our shirts are songs because I love Civil War music and I like Civil War poems. And I thought that since we're in the COVID world together and we can only really hang out virtually, this is our idea of Tenting Tonight. So if you ever heard the song Tenting Tonight, granted, it is a little sad, but we're not going to look at the sad part. We're going to look at the fun part and look at pictures of all these guys hanging around the tent. That is us. Jacob, I will not sing it because we will go from 31 participants down to 11. That's
Brian,
we're tenting tonight on the old campground. All right. Brian, we ready?
We are ready, Mike.
Oh.
Right.
All right, round one, Brian, first question. Now remember, when you see the question, please type your answer. What was the term for soldiers that were unable to keep up with their unit on the march? A, loners, B, stragglers, C, roamers, or D, homers? Man, you guys got that really quick. The answer, which none of you may have gotten, the consensus may be wrong. All right, what's the answer, Brian?
Stragglers.
It is stragglers. Well done to literally everyone in the room. All right, Brian, next question. In what state was the Battle of Perryville fought in October of 1862? The answer is, it is Kentucky. Bragg versus Buell. Next question, Brian. Question number 3. What Confederate general is pictured here? And they start to get a little more difficult. They get a little more difficult, and we'll give a little hint.
There you go.
Designed a tent that was named after him. This tent, which we won't name yet, Mr. Heckman, I think you must admit it is one of the finest things to sleep in living history if you are privy to do so in an appropriate year event, which doesn't always seem to be followed. But
very true. You can fit a lot of people in this tent.
You can, and it also comes with usually a stovetop oven, which is the best.
And us old guys who used to do the reenactments love having a stove.
Yes, because your warmth doesn't come from the big guy next to you.
No.
Only. Hey, listen, Brian, you laugh, but I know there's a lot of other people. I know Dan Casella's in here, and there's some other people that have reenacted. On a cold night at Cedar Creek, that big guy next to you is the guy you want to be with. Like I'll share a tent with him.
That's
because
true.
He's warm.
Brian's looking warm.
Yeah. Brian, what is the answer to number 3?
The answer is. Anyone know the first name before that?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That should have
a
bonus question because I didn't know Sibley's first name or his middle name. It is Henry Hopkins Sibley is number 3.
A fine mustache from the man.
All right, Brian. Question number 4, please.
4.
Number 4. In the structure of armies on both sides, which of these would have theoretically been the smallest in size? Division, brigade, corps, or regiment? Brian, what is the answer to number 4?
The answer is D, regiment.
D would theoretically be the smallest. And I said theoretically because there certainly were some brigades that were smaller than regiments, depending on when it was. But in the hierarchy of things, the regiment would be the smallest of the 4. Brian, question number 5.
Number 5.
Who was the overall Union commander at the Battle of Prairie Grove in Arkansas? Again, gets a little harder. Took the place of Schofield, who was ill, so he was not in charge of the campaign. But on the day of the Battle of Prairie Grove, he was the highest senior officer on the field and commanded I think there was 3 divisions there. The answer, Brian, and I don't think many people got this. It's James Blunt.
Yep.
James Blunt. You're beautiful.
You're
beautiful.
I will say.
Not that one.
Is quite the gorgeous man as a commander. So, I mean, that's a striking beard.
Question number 6, Mr. McGee.
Sir.
The double deuce.
What's the double deuce? What's the 3-point bonus?
Oh, it's the super awesome 3-point bonus round. So this next question will be worth 3 points. In what year was the Battle of Wilson's Creek? Brian, what is the answer to number 6?
Answer number 6 is 1861.
It is 1861, and good job to you. 3 pointers that got it. How we looking, Gail? Good to go?
We're good.
Appreciate your tireless work. Question number 7, Mr. McGee. Fill in the blank of this popular poem and song, All Quiet Along the Blank Tonight. A lot of those sad ones, John, are the most popular ones. Weeping, Sad and Lonely, you know, all those other ones. I know that the big hurrah songs are what we think of. Yeah, that's what they'd listen to in camp. But it seems like the soldiers really clinged on to those slower melody, sad ones.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was more of a personal reminder of what they were going through, right? And, you know, everyone had morale issues from time to time of their own accord. So definitely something to think about.
Brian, the answer to number 7, please. It is Potomac. Well done to you that got Potomac early doors and in the gate. All right, number 8, Mr. McGee.
All right, number 8 is...
Question 8. What is the nickname for this 12-pound field artillery piece? You're probably getting it before you even see the picture.
Yeah.
There it is.
Makes a beautiful
answer.
ring when it fires.
The answer to number 8, Brian? Wait, hang on. When you say beautiful ring, I've laid below those damn. There's no beautiful anything about that. It's terrifying. And the concussion from it alone.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh.
That
Yeah, but when you're
bronze
standing
ring,
behind it, I'm sure. But when you're lying in front of one.
you're not supposed to lie in front of it. You're supposed to be to the side of it, Mike.
All right. Brian, number 9, please.
9.
What famous Confederate cavalry commander was mortally wounded at the Battle of Yellow Tavern in May 1864? Number 9
Number 9.
is Jeb Stewart. Yes, it is. Enter shameless plug to our website. We have 2. You picked the Follow the Feather one. That is our friend Jeff Trexler. If you've never seen his art, he is an excellent artist. And we've kind of worked with him to put some of his designs into shirts in a very creative way. Brian gets a lot of credit for that, for turning something Jeff drew on paper and then, you know, converting that into vector files and into art. And that's just one of those skills that Brian has that is absolutely invaluable. But we also have the Giant shirt. So if you are a Jeb Stewart person, I love the Giant shirt. It is a beaut. It is a beaut. Number 10, Brian, please.
And the Giant shirt, but that was also a song, right?
It is Giant the Cavalry. At the Battle of Bentonville, what two former Army of the Potomac Corps commanders are in command of the armies of the Tennessee and Georgia under Sherman? You have to get both, please. You have to get both, and this was a hard one. Who were the 2 former Army of the Potomac Corps commanders in command? Yes, it's Howard and Slocum.
Oh.
Both part of that JFR wing at the Battle of Gettysburg under the 11th and 12th Corps. And somewhere, Steve Fan just looked up and said, "Did someone say John Fulton Reynolds?"
Yeah.
It's
kind of like when you get it's kind of like the bat signal for him.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like when you say Meade and, you know, Jen Murray appears and then there's Steve to argue, and it's just great.
Yes.
See, that's good video. That's what we should have had. Just let them argue and see who picks.
I will have them on a future live stream together so they can just argue the entire.
Perfect. I'm bringing popcorn.
Oh yeah, please do.
I'm watching that. Number 11, Brian, please.
And if there is a misspelling, it's probably my fault. So.
Is this a precursor? Is there a misspelling?
Dolly knows.
Oh, round. What was the name for an advanced line of troops that sought out and/or engaged the enemy ahead of their main forces?
Ooh.
We will take 2 similar answers for this.
I was gonna say, yeah, that could be.
Brian, what is the answer to number 11?
Skirmish line or skirmishers?
Skirmish line or skirmishers? I actually would have accepted, because if someone put pickets or picket line, I would have taken it. I was definitely looking for skirmishers. You were supposed to edit this. All right, no, number 13, because you know what, number 12 doesn't matter. All right, another hard one. I think this is to finish off the first round, and then we'll have a little bit of a break. All right, number 13, 12. What Union general is pictured here? Ooh.
You're tough with your questions.
Oh, hard one, but there is a hint. Controversially court-martialed for his actions at Second Bull Run.
Yeah.
The answer, Mr. McGee.
Fitz John Porter.
Fitz John Porter. What is this?
Wow.
Oh, what?
Yes.
What? The scoreboard.
I don't know if you guys can see it. This way. Okay.
Wow.
First place, Timothy. Second place is a tie with Kobe and John. Third place is a tie with Caitlin and Brandon. And fourth place is Ramona. And fifth place is Leonard.
I thought
There
everything
you
was bigger
go.
in Texas. Apparently, everything's bigger in California.
Yeah. We are going to jump into round 2. I will turn over presentation duties to Mr. John Heckman, the tattooed historian. Love that picture.
Love that.
So much. That is the greatest
Your
photo
favorite
taken.
picture, isn't it? All right. Now we're going to go into 12 questions strictly about the Battle of Gettysburg. They go all over the place as far as how difficult they are. I wanted to throw in a couple curveballs as well, which we will get to like around question 6 or so. But here we go. Brian, you ready to rock and roll?
Great answer.
Let's go, man. Question numero uno. The Battle of Gettysburg was fought over shoes. True or false? I hear this a lot.
Louis Vuittons, to be exact.
All right, Brian, what's the answer?
The answer is false.
False. That is correct.
What do we chalk that up to, John? What do we chalk that myth up to?
Well, a lot of the myth came about after the war when they came up with the thing about the Confederates that were shoeless and they were out looking for shoes, and there supposedly was a supply of shoes in the town when there's actually no warehouse in the town, or there's only one person that really works in leather work in the town as far as shoes are concerned. So we chalk that up to post-battle mythology of the ragged Confederate out looking for shoes in Yankee land. Hit us with that next question. Looking for Buster Brown shoes. One of the first U.S. Army infantry units to go into the fight on July 1st, 1863 was the famous Iron Brigade. They were also known as the Black Rifles, the Black Hats, or the Black Devils. I was going to make D the Black Crows to see who was a 90s music fan in here. Brian, what's the answer?
Oh, there you go.
The Black Hats, yes, for their infamous hardy hats, dress hats that they kept, and were very well noted for that. They also had black bowler civilian hats as well, but they're mainly remembered for those tall, hardy hats, the old dress hats. Let's go to number 3. How many artillery pieces made up a common artillery battery in the U.S. Army at the Battle of Gettysburg? A, 4, B, 5, C, 6.
You stuck my battleship.
Yeah. Great game. What's the answer, Brian?
The answer is C, 6.
6. That is correct. 6 field artillery pieces in a battery of federal artillery, and a ton of horses involved in that as well. Numero quattro, Brian, please.
Number 4.
Which day the 3-day battle was the deadliest? A, July 1st, B, July 2nd, C, July 3rd. Brian, what's the answer?
The answer is B, July 2nd.
B, July 2nd, ladies and gentlemen. That is the deadliest day on the field. And I like Andrea's comment. Thanks a lot, Sickles. Brian, flip of the switch. On July 2nd, his brigade held the extreme left of the federal line on Little Round Top. A, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, B, Samuel Crawford, or C, Strong Vincent.
Every time you say Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, I see Gail twitch a little bit. She's, oh.
I know.
Ooh. She's fit.
He said his name. Brian, what's the answer, my friend?
This is a bit tricky. I got this wrong the first time as well. I ran for A, but the answer, if you pay attention to the question, is
Brigade.
C.
C. Strong Vincent.
Strong man, Strong Vincent. Number 6, please. He moved his Federal Third Corps forward on July 2nd to what he believed was a better position. In doing so, his corps was wrecked, and so was one of his legs. Who was he? How about an answer, Brian?
the answer is Major General Daniel E. Sickles.
That is correct. Andrea, I appreciate they should sell Sickles Pickles at Hunt's.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's fantastic. Yeah, that's a shirt. Sickles Pickles. All right, Brian, next question, please. Approximately 51,000 troops became casualties due to the 3-day battle. Of these numbers, how many were killed in action, killed outright? A, 7,000, B, 10,000, C, 12,000. All right, Brian, what's the answer?
It was A, 7,000.
7,000. Right.
Yeah, and like Timothy and Matthew pointed out, usually in those after action reports, they're correct. Wounded, missing, and captured would all be counted in the total, what would be termed as casualties for a regiment during that action.
Correct. Number 8, please, Brian. Robert E. Lee, commander of the Army of Northern Virginia, had 2 horses on campaign. One was Traveler. What was the name of his other horse?
Wilbur.
Yes, it was the talking horse.
Well, there's the spoiler.
Yeah.
Jeez. That talking horse got him in a lot of trouble. Attack the center, General. All right, Wilbur.
Yeah. He was the brains of the operation. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, attack the center.
Brian, what's the answer, my friend?
The answer is Lucy Long.
Lucy Long. That's right. We take Lucy. That's fine. Next slide, please, Brian. After the battle, a photography team made their way to Gettysburg from Emmitsburg. The images they took still influence how we see the battle today. Who was the photographer? Matthew Brady, Alexander Gardner, Tom Brady.
The answer is Alexander Gardner. Now, Google reported that Matthew Brady was probably the most famous photographer to document Gettysburg. But Mike, what was the key hint in the question here?
I assume John had put out, for me, when I read it, was images of the dead. I'm sure John can tell you who was first on the scene in doing that.
Alexander Gardner is the first one on the scene there. Now, Matthew Brady will go later to Gettysburg later on in 1863, and he will photograph other parts of town. But the person who was on the scene directly after the battle to photograph the dead was Alexander Gardner and his team. Number 10, please, Brian. Abraham Lincoln wrote the Gettysburg Address on the back of an envelope. True or false? Brian, what's the answer, my friend?
The answer is false.
False.
What generated this myth?
There have been myths about this for years that I'm going around. It started, in the folklore of Abraham Lincoln, and how he was a simple person. So he wrote it on the back of an envelope on the train to Gettysburg before delivering it. He'd actually been working on it off and on for several weeks, according to some reports. Finished it in Gettysburg at the Wills house where he stayed, which is on the Diamond, the night before. But there is no evidence of him writing it on the back of an envelope at all. Brian, next slide, please.
Next slide.
Next slide. On July 1st, as the battle along McPherson's Ridge raged, an old man approached the 150th Pennsylvania, asked if he could join them. Disturbed by the sight of an old civilian, one of the officers told him to go to the woods to the south for cover. Instead of seeking shelter, he went into the woods and fought alongside fellow troops there. Who was this brave and possibly not so swift man? Brian, what's the answer? Of course, we're already there. There you go. That's my favorite pop-up. Yes.
That is another shameless plug for our Get Off My Lawn shirt.
All right, Brian, let's hit number 12, the last question of this round. A sprawling field hospital took shape just outside of Gettysburg in the days, weeks, and months after the battle. Some of the work performed there influenced future field hospital and medical procedures in the Army. Generations of medical personnel utilized lessons learned at Camp Meade, Camp Hancock, or Camp Letterman. Brian, what's the answer here?
Answer is C, Camp Letterman.
Camp Letterman.
It said, John, I know a lot of it's up for sale. It's
This is a great idea and something awesome for everyone to take part in. So thank you guys for doing this. This is great. And thank you for the shout out. Appreciate that.
Head over to Facebook, head over to Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch, where you can catch as much of John's awesome content as he's able to get to. And he has the new season of the podcast. Can you find the podcast on all podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify, everywhere else you can get it. And what are some of the things you might be speaking on in 2021, John?
Oh, we have some wild stuff coming up. We're going to be doing military history. We're going to be doing sports history. I have several contacts that are going to be doing some gaming history. Those will strictly be on Twitch because obviously we're going to be doing a lot on Twitch here. But people talking about historical gaming and stuff, interviews and such will be over on Twitch, twitch.tv/The Tattooed Historian. And then we're going to have Facebook and YouTube live events going on. And anything that's not gaming oriented will always be on Facebook and YouTube. And I've just got off the phone earlier today, texting with Dr. Peter Carmichael. We're going to do something else here soon. So there's going to be some more Civil War content coming out. Basically, it's just a free for all from now on. So not only doing history, but speaking about what it's like to be a historian in the modern era and branding and stuff like that. So if someone wants to start a brand of their own, they might be able to get some pointers with that. So it's kind of like a week to week, a cornucopia of history.
Who do we have that's in fourth place?
Give me 1 second. Fourth place is Caitlin and Brandon.
right.
Third place is John with 16
John.
points.
All right, Gail, let's go. Second place. Bum, bum, bum. Big
Kobe.
board. Cody. Is that who it was?
Yes, 18 points.
Yeah.
All right, first place.
Is, if I don't hit myself first, can you guys see that?
Other way. Oh.
Bring it in.
There we
Bring it
go.
in.
3.
Timothy.
23
Timothy.
What
How
missed
many?
one question?
23?
23 points.
Wow.
Please remember, if you want to support us, go to civilwartees.com. Check out our shirts. I hope you like them. If you check out with Trivia 1, I know it sounds salesy to make a sales coupon, but it's just an additional way of thanking you guys for spending the time with us tonight. I hope you all enjoyed it.
We appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Gail, to John, Mike, and everyone else. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guys.
See you.